In dreams, you can meet all sorts of interesting characters. Friends, enemies, angels, demons, and even talking bunny rabbits. So here's the situation. I had a dream presented in one of my classes. A student brought this in. It was a dream one of their patients was having. I've not met the patient. I don't know anything about this person. And it was a recurrent dream that the patient was having. It was so troublesome to them, they didn't want to go to sleep. It was that bad. They felt it was very scary. So what was it? So the dreamer would be in a room, and there would be this giant bunny rabbit there that could talk. And the bunny rabbit said, "I'm going to get you." And the rabbit would chase the dreamer all around the room, and eventually she would go hide under her bed, and the bunny rabbit would look underneath and go, "Gotcha." That was it. That was the dream. And this dream happened over and over and over again for many years, and it was very distressing to the patient. Well, when the student brought this in and said, "Hey, Dr. Goodwin, you're the dream guy. What's this mean? What does this mean?" And I said, "Well, is this patient someone who has a very intense sense of needing to control their environment?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "So is it really hard for her to be kind of playful and fun or even creative with you?" "Yeah." "How did you know that?" I said, "Has this person had some extensive abuse in their history, maybe childhood physical abuse?" And the student said, "How do you know all that stuff just from this dream?" I said, "Well, that's the trick. A dream is a piece of information. It's like a symptom. It's something that if you understand its meaning, you can tell something about what's going on." So this may seem like kind of a parlor trick here, but it isn't. It's knowing and understanding what the imagery means. So how did I do that? How did I figure all that stuff out just from this one dream? Well, the trick to this is that dream has a lot in it. There's a lot of information in the imagery of it. But the first principle I have to understand, in addition to the ones we've already talked about, meaning that this dream, like all dreams, is a picture of the very emotional situation that the patient is going through in symbols and images. So that's the same here. But the particular images chosen are where you figure out the details here. It might be easy to think, well, what could this bunny rabbit represent? But you got to stick with the actual imagery given to you when you're trying to make sense of it. So this is something that Carl Jung was famous for saying, was that we don't just dream things randomly, we don't dream things in order to fool us. We dream exactly what the psyche means to dream. So if you have to stay with the images to understand what they mean. So what I learned about this patient afterwards was that she had endured a great deal of physical abuse growing up as a child. Her own mother would beat her, and it was always, anytime she stepped out of line or did something silly or goofy, she got severely reprimanded for it. And sometimes it wound up even being broken bones. That's some serious trauma there. And I had correctly guessed that. Now, how did I do that? Well, that was part of my analysis that was an educated guess. So in order to figure out what the meaning of the dream is, not only do I need to understand the imagery itself and stick with it, don't overinterpret it, I also need to take a look at the dreamer's behavior. When we dream, we behave basically the same way we would when we're awake. It's because we don't know we're dreaming, number one, but even if we did know that we were dreaming, we would still behave in our typical manner. So the way that you behave in a dream is essentially the same way that you'll behave when you're not dreaming. So that means that if a bunny rabbit comes up to you and wants to play, and you run from it, that's an interesting piece of information. Now remember, the bunny rabbit was just a big rabbit. It didn't appear demonic. It didn't have glowing eyes. It wasn't like the bunny rabbit from the Monty Python and the Holy Grail movie. It was just a normal bunny rabbit, just very large, and it just happened to be able to talk. Okay. So what's she doing here in this dream? She's running from it. Now, bunny rabbits typically evoke images of playfulness or even creativity. The rabbit is, in mythology, oftentimes associated with fertility, creativity, new life. You can see this cross-culturally. So you want to think about that kind of meaning connection when you're looking at dreams, because there's a very good chance that the symbolism is the same. So in this case now, though, she's running from that energy that's being personified and imaged as an animal. Remember the video that we talked about with dream characters and dream consciousness? So it might be easy to think, well, okay, then maybe the rabbit is a representation of the patient's abusive mother. But that would be an example of not sticking to the image. The reason you don't want to do that is because it can lead you down the wrong path of understanding the dream meaning. If you're going to dream about your mother, then you'll just dream about your mother. There's no need for the psyche to substitute it for something else. There's nothing mothering about this bunny rabbit in this recurrent dream. Rather, it's a bunny rabbit. So we got to stick with that, but as a symbol, though, not as a concrete image. So when we look at it, what we see is that the patient is running from this image of creativity, playfulness, and new life. Well, that's pretty interesting. In fact, she hides under the bed. That's also an interesting image, too. And the bunny rabbit says, "Gotcha," and she wakes up. But the fear is what doesn't make sense here. And you always want to look at what's happening in the dream and does it line up with what would normally happen outside the dream. Because if it's drastically different, there's a reason for it. In this case, what the rabbit represents is what's terrifying to this patient. That's how I could figure out that she had this intense desire to keep things well under wraps and in control, and that she couldn't be playful, and it was hard for her to be creative. The reason I thought that that had to do with trauma was just an educated guess. I thought, what might be the reason for someone to feel that way about childlike playfulness? Well, severe abuse would do it. So it was a good guess. But the rest of it I took from the imagery of the dream itself. So in this case, the dreamer had a large amount of creative childlike energy about her. That's why it was a large bunny rabbit instead of a small one. So the psyche will use size as a way to indicate importance. And when she felt that, she was terrified of it. So the bottom line is that the bunny rabbit represented an aspect of herself that she was in conflict with, that she was running away from. And we were able to take that information to figure out more about her situation than she might have been able to realize. The fact that this was a recurrent dream suggests that it was something that was very difficult for her to deal with. And so the problem keeps coming up over and over and over again. So when you're trying to understand a dream, you want to stick to the imagery of it, even if it's weird or seemingly bizarre, even if it's a talking bunny rabbit.